Hey everyone, welcome back to another sketch video. So this is page 3 in the sketchbook. And first of all, let me apologise for when the camera loses focus in and out a lot. It's always difficult when filming these because I'm not actually looking at the camera, so I don't really notice when it loses focus. And because this is actually quite a small A5 sketchbook, the camera is actually quite close here, so I think that causes it to go in and out of focus a bit. So in the previous two sketch videos, I was using a ballpoint pen again. This time I am starting with a Crystal Bic ballpoint. I think that's what it's called. And this is a fine one, so it's like a 0.8 nib. The ones I was using before were the round Bic sticks, I think. And I actually end up using one of these towards the end of this video again. I thought that buying these finer ones would be pretty good for more detail, but to be honest, it didn't feel much different. It just appeared a little bit lighter, which you'll be able to see when I use the other pen at the end of the video to darken and thicken some lines up. So whilst I've called this page 3 in my sketchbook, it's technically page 5 because I ended up ripping 2 pages out in frustration. Because I have been doing these without any reference, they haven't always turned out too well. So I started with just a human face side profile. That was my original idea. Because I was too lazy to load up any reference though, the proportions were just so off. I didn't really like it in this sketchbook. Ordinarily, I would say a sketchbook is for messy drawings like that, so it doesn't matter. But when you are recording them to make videos from it, you do want them to at least turn out nice. Otherwise, no one would watch your videos. And as always, if you are interested in seeing more of my artwork, make sure you follow me on the social media links again in the description box below. Or you can just find me by searching for Sketched by Steve. So in the end, I decided I would just go for a skull. And those of you that have watched the last few videos in this sketchbook will notice they're all similar sort of dark magic-y type skull videos, let's call them. I never really used to draw things like this, but I've been following one artist. Again, I mentioned this a lot in the previous videos, but Fran Garces, I think he's called, who does these kind of dark, deformed illustrations, but they're pretty cool, and I just figured I'd give them a go. And I find them a lot more enjoyable than I was expecting. I think it's because I can sort of add and deform these skulls without using reference, without it taking too long, and it doesn't look wrong, even if you get the proportions off. So on this one, for example, the muzzle of the mouth below the nose, I stretched that and made it quite long. If you actually put a real skull against this, it would probably be way off in terms of proportions. But I think when it's something a bit evil like this, you can get away with it. And I've been saying as well that these sort of remind me of something from the Demon Souls and Dark Souls video games, in case any of you have played any of those games. So to make it less boring, instead of just using a standard skull, I have tried to make it creepier by adding spikes and playing around with the proportions, giving it fangs, messy teeth. I didn't bother adding a bottom jaw on this one, to be honest, just because I thought it would look cool without one, and to show a tongue still coming out. Quite a long tongue, well, several tongues if you look closely. And the things coming out the back, well, I didn't really plan it that well. I've always seen people drawing this kind of thing with like flowing hair, flowing things coming out the back. And I figured because this is a creepy illustration, I could probably get away with just doing anything. It doesn't have to have that much reasoning. I'm just trying to have fun, make myself draw a little bit more. So I kind of went for a mix of spikes, especially starting at the skull, and then turning into these, I'm not even sure what you'd call them, but like water creature, fish, ocean, tentacle things, I guess. I even added a little bit of patterning to some of them. And at the very beginning, I blocked in a very faint line that I'm going to call like a flow line to show the direction that I wanted these to go in, that I was trying to follow roughly. But because this is my first time drawing something like this, I did struggle with it actually. And by the end of the video, you can probably already see, in fact, it's kind of losing that direction a little bit. It's becoming a little bit too cluttered. Now, I don't think it looks bad, but it's probably not quite as neat and organised as I originally planned. So it is a little bit messy, but hey, that's what a sketchbook's for. It was surprisingly difficult just to actually fit things in and get them to overlap. So I essentially had to draw the tentacles and whatever we want to call them, starting with the ones that were closest to the camera, because obviously working with biro, once you put that line down, you can't really erase it. And then I had to work step by step, drawing them further in the background as they go. And you might have noticed I'm now going around it with the Big Stick pen. This is a medium sized nib, so it's only a tiny bit thicker than the crystal Bic I've got there. And I couldn't tell whether it is actually darker or whether it's just because it's thicker. But my thinking here was, because it's got a little bit messy, I would try and make the lines a little bit thicker just of certain ones that I wanted to stand out more, and then leave some of these weird things coming out the skull a little bit faded into the background, and even add a little bit of shading to them. But it was getting quite complicated. And again, I think I actually overdid it and went around too much with the outline. It definitely did help to make things stand out a little bit clearer, especially the underneath of the skull where it transitions to the tongue, because that was blending into one another a little bit too much. So you can see that a thicker line has sort of separated it a bit. And I will put links in the video and in the description box below to my page 1 and 2 sketch for those that are interested. One thing that did annoy me by the end of this, I wish I'd started just a little bit further down and to the right so that it fit a little bit more perfectly. Not that it matters, but just looking at it, I feel like it doesn't quite fit the space as it should. So we're coming to the end now. If you did like this sketch and you want to see more of my sketches like this, make sure you follow me on social media at Sketched by Steve. Again, links in the description box below. And of course, if you did like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. I'd love to get some suggestions from you guys, see what kind of things you want me to draw. And also it'd be cool just to know whether you guys like these kind of videos or whether you prefer tutorials or something else completely. And last of all, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on for future content. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.